Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber 93, I have brewed a deck around Wishclaw Talisman with the condition that the deck is mostly fair. And what that means is I'm not allowed to Wishclaw Talisman for Beseech the Mirror and win the game, which is what this card is usually used for, like some sort of step along the way in a Storm deck. 93 wanted me to activate Wishclaw Talisman and then break the parity somehow and play a more reasonable, fair game where the game continues on after I activate Wishclaw Talisman. To do that, I have decided to take it in this Sultai Opposition Agent shell. Opposition Agent, of course, awesome with Wishclaw Talisman. You can wish for the Opposition Agent and then just have it if they ever try to wish again. And then you get your card, their card, and then your card again. If we're playing 4 Opposition Agents in a deck, and we have some number of demonic tutors in the form of Wishclaw Talisman, I'm adding 1 Maralen and the Morn Song for sure. 1 black, legendary elf wizard. Players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, they lose 3 life, search the library for a card, put it in their hand, then shuffle. Maralen plus Opposition Agent is a lock. Your opponent can't draw cards, and every turn they have to search for a card, but actually I get the card, and they still lose 3 life. This is the end game I'm going for, with Opposition Agent as the core of the engine. To support the shell here, I've got 2 copies of Shadow of Doubt. Players can't search libraries this turn. This kind of functions as a stifle in some ways, a stifle that cantrips no less. You can just use this on a fetch land or a Stoneforge Mystic or whatever. You can also give your opponent Wishclaw Talisman and then stuff the tutor, draw a card, and get Wishclaw Talisman back. I'm playing Shadow of Doubt over actual Stifle because Wishclaw Talisman, the cost is tap, remove a counter from Wishclaw. Then the effect is search a library for a card and an opponent gains control. If I were to stifle this, my opponent would keep the Wishclaw Talisman, which is not what I want to happen. I want this to resolve, I just don't want it to do anything. That's where Shadow of Doubt is better than Stifle. And then the deck is just filled out with Sultai cards that I like. Birds of Paradise, because we're trying to crank out 3 drops here. Leovold, Uro, Force of Will, and Daze, both in high numbers here. Fatal Push, Children's Edict, of course, Witherbloom Command, and Ponder Brainstorm. And that's the deck. It's pretty simple. Let's hope it holds up. This is Sultai Wishclaw from 93. I'm on the draw in round 1. I'm going to keep this hand. Got Force Blue card, Fatal Push, some lands. Got the Uro. Got the namesake Wishclaw Talisman. Another cool thing about this deck is if I play Sultai lands and cast a Wishclaw Talisman, every single opponent is going to assume I'm on Storm until I show them something different. Opponent said in the chat, I might recognize this deck. Uh-oh, is this Sultai Beans? Well, you won't recognize this one, don't worry. They have the nice art of everything, which makes me think that they are an enfranchised player. And I just drew Shadow of Doubt. I hope to snipe this fetch land. They brainstorm in the end step. They're likely to want to shuffle this. At least I hope that's the case. And I can beat a Daze with my Daze. Please crack that. Please crack that. Oh, bummer. Okay, here we go. I can't beat a Daze anymore, but I'm still going to send it. Underground Sea. Tropical Island. Surprise nerd, it's the mirror match. Except that it's definitely not. Shadow of Doubt. Spell Pierce. Okay. I could force this. Or I could take this 1 for 1 and Force of Will whatever's coming next. I think that's probably better. So now I can Daze the Beanstalk. That's great. They got a Daze too. Well, I'm not beating a Beanstalk. I'm going to Force of Will this Beanstalk. And I think I pitch Uro here rather than Brainstorm. Brainstorm's got more going on. Alright, I'm not like excited about that turn, but it wasn't horrendous either. I'm going to invest in the Wishclaw, which unfortunately I know they're a Witherbloom Command deck. Second Beanstalk. Glad I fought over the first one. Life is pain. Okay, I'm gonna brainstorm here. I found a Thoughtseize and a Witherbloom Command. These are good things. I'm gonna put back Wishclaw, and I think Fatal Push can go back. And then I'm gonna Witherbloom their Beanstalk. Target player mills 3, destroy target thing. Mill myself. Target your bean. Oh, I milled the Maralen. God damn. Not only does that give away my whole deck, but now my endgame doesn't exist. And I pitched Uro already? How am I even going to win this game? This sucks. Please cast a Murktide here and not a Leovold. They tap mana, then untap their mana. Ooh, Oppo just in the hand now. That's exciting. I'm gonna Thoughtseize them. What's that card you thought about playing that changed your mind? Bowmaster, yep, that happens. It is a Leovold. Multiple removal spells. I don't think we can win this game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I guess I take Leovold here. Yeah, that's just not a card I can reasonably beat. Wasteland, that's annoying because it turns on Fatal Push. I'm going to play Oppo here. I have to work my way through these interaction spells eventually. Yep, there's the Fatal Push. I have a Fatal Push. That's pretty good. Okay, push your Bowmaster. And I'm just going to Petty Theft this Orc army right now while I know it resolves. If they rip exactly Murktide Regent, I'm going to be bummed about it. But I don't want to be just taking damage here. And Brazen Borrower can attack. They just passed. I've got a land now. It sucks how fragile Brazen Borrower is to Orcish Bowmaster, which they have immediately. Jeez. All right. Tough crowd. Another Wishclaw Talisman. Well, this card is not good. And the problem with Sheoldred's Edict is it doesn't even target. I can't even grab Leovold here. I am not going to win this game. Okay, we can save time and just go to the next one. Okay, Sultai Beans. Veil of Summer. Carpet of Flowers. I don't hate Plague Engineer or Flusterstorm, but I don't love them either. Force of Will and Daze can chill a little bit. Now that they've seen Daze, they're more likely to play around it. And I'm bringing in Veil of Summers over Force of Will. Can't really cut removal. I'm not allowed to cut Wishclaw Talisman because that's what we're doing here, even though it is reasonable to believe that card's not good. I'm going to cut Shadows and get Flusterstorm and a Plague Engineer in. I think that covers the most potential bases. Keep this hand with my Uro in it. I would have kept playing that last game if the Uro was still in my deck, but I happened to pitch it to Force earlier. Opponent's on 6. I don't play Stifle. I'm not going to Fluster a Ponder. They chose to shuffle. That's cool. I thought about putting Wasteland in this deck and then figured I'm playing a combo that's based on resolving multiple 3-drops, and it didn't make sense. Beanstalk right away. Hate that for me. Okay, I can shove Uro here while the getting's good. Drop, Bayou, Uro, put in the Underground Sea. There's an answer to Beanstalk eventually. That was a really good card to have. I actually think I have to kill Carpet now, and I can't afford to fight over Beanstalk. This deck is so good. Who built this deck? They get 3 mana off Carpet for second main here. Bunch of blue, Brainstorm. Found a land drop. Another bean. Well, we're in trouble, team. And they wasted my Bayou. Okay. Witherbloom Command, mill myself, destroy Carpet of Flowers. Green-black with Flusterstorm back up. I would like this Bayou back, please. Play the Bayou. And pass the turn. What's happening here is what happens in many of my Brew challenges, which is my opponent is just playing my deck without silly cards in it. Like if you just cut the Wishclaw Talisman, Oppo Agents, and put up the Beanstalk and Murktide Regent. A lot of the same tools going on here. There's a Murktide Regent that drew 2 cards. Horrifying. And wasting my Bayou. I think I should Brainstorm here while it's insulated against Daze. Carpet's good. Don't need both these lands. Alright, here we go. Land, Carpet. The problem with bouncing Murktide is that they have 2 up the Beanstalks. And eventually they're just going to play this thing and it's going to draw more cards. And I'm going to pay for Daze. That also removes Island from play. Makes Carpet a little worse. I'm actually just going to play Opposition Agent here. If they have another Daze, that's fine, but they didn't Daze Carpet twice. And this is not a card that's actually important. Now they're down to 0 lands. While I have Uro in my graveyard. I'm taking 5 here. I'm going to decline Carpet because it doesn't make mana anyway. Cast Uro. They dazed me twice last turn. Veil of Summer now. Had to play an island. Had to play another island. Witherbloom Command, that barely matters. And they picked up Misty Rainforest rather than Wasteland. Stop trying to control my mana. No attack's interesting. Does that mean you're going to block with this? Let's find out. Catacombs come in. Yeah, no attack, no block. Birds of Paradise get in there. And I think I just want to hold up my bunch of interaction at this point, rather than add Plague Engineer to the board. Thoughtseize, Veil of Summer, Ka-chow. Swing and a miss. Oh, please fetch this land. I just drew an Oppo that is uncounterable. Not going to block. All right, well, I'll make you fetch while my spell's uncounterable. Opposition Agent. There goes the fetch. Sheoldred's Edict. Okay, I got a lot of good options here. I think my best options start with attacking. I would not be surprised to see a Bowmaster here. That's fine. And then I'm going to each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature to clear out the Murktide, the thing that's actually killing me here. And then Bowmaster resolves. It'll probably ping Oppo because it thinks it's going to draw another card. Fatal Push. And then Bowmaster trigger resolves. Uro happens. And now I can bounce Orc Army and put my opponent to 1. Yeah, that actually seems great compared to just letting it trade with Oppo. Okay, opponent's at 1. Can't search, can't fetch. There's black in the pool. What are we doing with it? Murderous Cut targeting Oppo. I cannot counter this yet. Interesting they fought over Oppo rather than Uro. Bowmaster. Annoying. Oh, I might as well float my blue. Maybe I'm just supposed to Flusterstorm that spell anyway, to make sure they don't have a follow-up play. But how about Plague Engineer? Sideboard tech coming in big. And I can Fluster a Force. Oh, we got a win versus Sultai Beans. Get out of here. I think Plague Engineer might be better than I gave it credit for. Pernicious Deed wipes up Beans, Bowmasters, and Orcs. I just feel like trying to drop into a control posture versus this deck that's a way better control deck than me is a mistake. I'm going to shave a Birds of Paradise because I'm bringing in 2 Carpet of Flowers, which is also a mana dork, and Birds of Paradise dies so easy to Bowmaster. I'm actually up a mana dork here, even though I boarded 1 out. Oh, this hand, I would keep this with 1 land. Mulligan. Keep. Bottom. Underground Sea. I'm just going to fetch here. If they stifle, they stifle. I'm going to Thoughtseize. I want to see what's going on. Witherbloom Command, Murderous Cut, Carpet of Flowers, Lorien Revealed. Well, I don't like any of these. Witherbloom Command lines up extremely well against this bird, but I think Carpet is the scariest card in this hand. I can try to play around Witherbloom Command. Underground Sea. Cycling Lorien Revealed. That's a really early cycle of Lorien Revealed when you already have 2 land drops and now no blue card for Force of Will. Or are they just going to Witherbloom for a land? That's great. Okay. Birds of Paradise is live. They found a Wasteland, though. They Ponder. Plague Engineer I like. Extra land I like. Ponder I like. I'll take all of it. Trop Bop. Trop Bop, as Garfield intended. Every card in play right now is printed in alpha. It's a beautiful thing. Did they have another Witherbloom Command? No, don't do it. And they get to pick up that Wasteland. That probably kills me. Played around it. Didn't matter. They just had another one. Devastating. Luckily, I kept this land on my Ponder. Oh, wait. They milled targeting me. That land was just a lucky draw. Cool. Wasteland. Float black. Ponder. Okay, there's the Uro. The solo king that could win this game by himself through that Murderous Cut if I find land number 3 and get things going here. However, Murktide Regent will quickly end the game if I don't get something going here. There it is, large and in charge. Stopped at 7. It's still a 2-turn clock, that makes sense. Days, unhelpful. Uro could still buy me another turn. I do have edicts and stuff in my deck. Not going to concede yet, but I am behind. That second surprise Witherbloom Command after I saw the first one and played around it. Tough beats. Also, milling into Wasteland mattered too. If they just picked up a fetch land or whatever, that wouldn't have mattered as much. And they can Mystic Sanctuary to make Murktide bigger, or put Force of Will in hand. All right, we're dead. GG's. Too much mana denial never got off the ground. On to the next one.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 2 with a Disruptive Hand and a Birds of Paradise. I think this is good enough to keep even though it doesn't do anything yet. It's set up well to do stuff. It's also unlikely to die on turn 1 or 2 with the double layer of free protection. And my opponent mulled to 5, so hopefully that's a good sign. Drop Bird. Have to fetch Trop here because that one casts Daze. Blue to Delta. Mull to 5 Blue to Delta strategy. Island, Ponder. Wow, okay. This is not what I expected out of a mull to 5. I'm always ready for just Grief and Tomb Reanimate. This would be a great turn to draw an Oppo or a Leovold. Lotus Petals here now. And they did not shovel that Ponder. Are we show and tell? Wishclaw Talisman. Cool. Okay. I'll put this on the stack. The old Birds of Paradise Wishclaw Talisman strategy. Ancient Tomb. So this looks like show and tell to me. And they're playing around Daze. Hate that. Okay, I'm still going to force pitching Force rather than pitching Daze because if they use Lotus Petal to fight this Force, Brainstorm. Okay. I'm going to let them Brainstorm here because this is why I left Daze in my hand. I kind of hope they do draw Force and pitch cards to fight over this. Okay, we won that battle. And I'm going to wish for Opposition Agent here. This is the strat. And I am just going to drop it. Because what I don't want to happen is for them to present something that I'm worried about. And then I have to Oppo over the top and then they wish for an answer to Oppo. Okay, can we get a breather here, please? Okay, Maralen off the top. Force of Will. That's almost castable. One more turn. Okay, fetch lands don't work. Intuitions don't work. Ponder is mostly fine. They have 2 show and tells left in their deck. They can't fetch. They can't tutor. Tropical Island. Okay, now I have Force of Will up again. Just going to keep bashing with Oppo here. That's the win con. Pondering. What a universe this player lives in that they can just draw 3 show and tells on a mull to 5. What happened to decks having a fail rate? Is that not a thing anymore? And they have Force blue card to back it up. Hell yeah. Cool. Alright, I hope this is just like a raw Omniscience and not actually a win the game card. Fucking sweet. Nice. Alright. Oh my god. They're just like, yeah, I don't need fetch lands. I don't need to tutor. I don't need to activate this Wishclaw. I'll just mull to 5 and show and tell you on turns 2, 3, and 4. And the third one, it's going to have Force backup, by the way. Oh, and they attracts it into the 4th show and tell, by the way. Okay, I need a, like, Brazen Borrower right now to even do anything. Sheoldred's Edict. Insane. I'm the Joker now. I'd play this deck, too, if I got to play 12 show and tells. And they have the Force. I drew the Sheoldred's Edict. I'll at least make them Force. Sack a non-token creature, please. Well, I guess this doesn't even make them Force. They could just cast Show and Tell and put a new Atrax into play. Yeah, I would just let this resolve if I were them. They started tapping mana, then they untapped it. I think they're figuring it out. Yep, well done. You found the line. Oh, Dream Halls, cool. We might just be dead. They weren't done ripping the nuts. There's more. They discarded Force of Will to play Atraxa. Hopefully they punt and just like cast the Summoner's Pact or something. They discarded Dream Halls to cast Lorien Revealed. 8 cards in hand over there. Another Atraxa. Cool. That one discarded Spirit Guide. There's an Omniscience. Alright. It would be hard for them to mess up from here. Oh, Emrakul's there too. Alright. Yep, you did it. Oh my god. Okay. Flusterstorm's coming in. Damping Sphere's coming in against their particular build. I want Surgical Extraction because fighting or discarding a show and tell is a thing that this deck can do well. Fatal Push doesn't matter. Sheoldred's Edict might still be important. Veil of Summer is relevant. Carpet is not irrelevant, but it also might not be great. Witherbloom Command, kind of mid. That might destroy something like a Defense Grid. I don't think I'm high on it. This game is not going to be Burrow, and I think I could shave a Shadow of Doubt. Okay, let's try it like this. I'll keep this hand. That has a bunch of interaction. Not that that helps, because I know my opponent is playing 14 copies of Show and Tell. Underground Sea, pass. Island Ponder. A little jealous, but okay. Birds of Paradise. Okay, that guarantees a 1-drop. I'd rather Thoughtseize, but I will take this card. Bird and Misty can go back. Drop Bird. The Wishclaw is here. We could start wishing and clawing. Cycling Lorien revealed. Smart to do that now. I have a lot of ways to mess that up. This could be a Carpet of Flowers deck. I'm going to have to daze that if they play it. Can't beat that card. Another Bird. Okay. I can play Wishclaw Talisman and Backup Bird. I only have 1 layer protection right now. But the Claw is up for the future. Ancient Tomb. So they're representing Veil of Summer plus Show and Tell here. Only 1 play available to me. Force of Will. Okay. 1 down. 4 to go. Every card in their hand is Show and Tell. Got a Carpet now after I fought over the first one. And I could just Wishclaw for Surgical here, which is not safe, but it does get their Show and Tells out of their deck. Brainstorm. It would be sick to just draw an Oppo. Oppo? Flusterstorm. And I don't hate that card. I am going to wish for something here. I think I am going to wish for Surgical. Exile your Show and Tells. Get them out. I'm doing it now while Flusterstorm might still win a counter war. Dreamhall's Omniscience Force of Will is their hand. How do they actually win now? I mean, they can cast Dreamhalls if they, or next turn they could cast Dreamhalls, discard Force of Will, and play Omniscience. And activate Wishclaw. Shit, I'm dead. Okay, well, bad news, everybody. Turns out giving your combo opponent a hard tutor is dangerous. Let's hope they just don't go for it. Out of fear of the opposition agent that I certainly have. But they don't even need to be fearful because they have Force of Will in their hand. And they are just casting the Dream Halls. And they're going for the Wishclaw. Yeah, if they just like successfully wish here, get Emrakul, they win. Yeah, maybe I panicked just based on how game 1 went, but they did have Dreamhall's Omniscience in their hand with Force backup. And I can't Flusterstorm the Omniscience. That's not how that card works. I need them to mess up and like try to Lorien Revealed or something here. Discarded the Force Will to play Atraxa. Atraxa will probably put Omniscience into play successfully. Another Atraxa will... Yep, okay. Game 2, that Wishclaw backfired because their hand was what it was, but I don't know, game 1, just having all 3 Show and Tells when I fended off the first 2 on a Multi 5 with very little selection. Whatever. I mean, this deck's powerful. You play it to assemble AB, and my opponent did that successfully. On to the next round.
If you're looking to run a CEDH or 1v1 tournament, Eminence Gaming has your back with Command Tower. With Command Tower's intuitive tournament manager dashboard, you can handle decklist submission and player management with just a few clicks. Players just need to scan the event's QR code for access to the full tournament bracket, including seamless pairings and real-time standing updates. Take the guesswork out of tournament organizing. Try Command Tower for your next event.
On the draw with both Island Ponder and Swamp Thoughtseize, keeping it. Island from the opponent. Ponder. Smart. Powerful gamer. Island Ponder makes me think I'm safe to Thoughtseize, just basic island like this. Hope they don't have Wasteland, but I'd rather get a peek here. Force Bowmasters, and Sultai Beans just everywhere out in these streets. I'm going to take the Bowmaster, though. I hate my life. I'm quitting Magic. This league has been a disaster. Land off the top. Shit. I'm dead. Cycling Lorien revealed the end step. And Sultai doesn't pressure particularly quickly, so like we got time. Their hand is currently a bunch of lands and reactive spells. If I find the land sooner than later. Okay, we're back in. I think I'm going to get Tropical Island and cast Ponder. I found a Daze and a Misty. I'll take both of those. There's the Trop. We know 3 of the cards in their hand right now. Gonna Brainstorm in the end step. Hope they didn't draw another Bowmaster. Cool, we got away with it. Another land is good. This Witherbloom will be good eventually. I don't need both Shadow of Doubts. I'll hold on to 1 for funsies. And I'm gonna drop this Wishclaw Talisman into play. They've just seen lands, Thoughtseize, and Ponders from me, so I look like Storm right now to them. Blue to Delta. Okay, now they can hardcast 1 of the forces. Ooh, Thoughtseize. Give me another look over there. What you got? I'm going to let them fetch once. They're probably going to hardcast Force here, and I'm going to Shadow of Doubt the second fetch. Grab Bayou to round it out. And if they Spell Pierce this... Okay. Do I want to Force? I think I do. Force your Daze, pitching Daze, and I can still force pitching Brainstorm. I'm trying to make this awkward for them. I know 4 of the cards in their hand right now. It's Land, Force, Shouldered's Edict. My Force resolved. My Shadow of Doubt resolved. Found an Oppo. What's up? Misty Rain Forest fizzles. And Thoughtseize back on the stack here. Force, Push, Edict. I mean, Edict and Push are both annoying. Yeah, I think I'm more worried about those than I am about Force. Take the Edict. You have Force, Fatal Push, Island in hand. Found a Wasteland. Took out my Underground Sea, okay. Birds of Paradise can be targeted with Fatal Push. I don't mind that so much. I'm going to start with Brainstorm, though, when I know it's safe. Land Leovold, what's up? Uro, these are all good cards. I'm going to put back Witherbloom and Oppo, and then play the Bop, which will probably get pushed. And if it doesn't, that's fine. If it does, that's also fine. Couldn't resist, that's gone. Force Blue Card Island is the cards in hand. Brainstorm, alright, that changes the information. The turn right before I was going to stick a Leovold. Yeah, Murktide's kind of a problem here, if they come up with one. Ugh. Okay, I can force this pitching Leovold, and then try to beat it with Uro. Okay, force pitching Leo. They probably force back. Yeah, okay, opponent's Hellbent now, but they have a Murktide. I can tutor for an answer to Murktide. Get Underground Sea, play Uro. Was I supposed to play Oppo first and just go to 1 and then answer Murktide? Probably. Now what's my plan? Nothing. Just die. Dang, we had this one. We were driving it. We were about to stick Leovold. If they had just like drawn some other card instead of Brainstorm that turn. So close. Witherbloom Command. Okay. This also picks up a Wasteland. Pretty much ends any chance I have of playing this game. Well, my out is still Shoulder's Edict. There's, what, 1 more of those in the deck? No, I still have both of them. Shoulder's Edict, Brazen Borrow. I got 3 outs here. That's not it. Oh, no. Okay. Begin the rally against Sultai Beans again. Carpet, Veil, Plague Engineer, Blusterstorm, some Forces out, some Dazes out, a Shadow out, maybe both Shadows out, and a Birds of Paradise. We've seen this plan before. Okay, here we go. Keeping this hand. Now that I know my opponent's not going to kill me on turn 1, I can set up with Ponder rather than Thoughtseizing immediately. Ponder, Edict, Brainstorm, Uro. I do like these cards. I wish one of them was a land, but here we are. They're just wastelanding me right away. All good. I could Thoughtseize now, or I could save this to Brainstorm with. I'm going to do that. Tropical Island, Ponder from the opponent. My top card right now is Shouldered's Edict, which means I'm going to fetch in the end step, but not Brainstorm until my main phase. Make it a Tropical Island. Found a regular island, cool. I'm still going to Brainstorm. Oof. Obviously punished by the basic. Put back all these black cards that I can't cast for a while. Beanstalk. I really hate to pitch Uro on this. I think it's right, though. Here I am with a 2-for-1 answer to up the Beanstalk in my hand in Witherbloom Command, but instead I went for 2 myself, because Wasteland is really good. It's wildly exposed Witherbloom Command here. Just taking out 2 mana sources. Orcish Bowmaster Brainstorm locks me while killing a mana source. You know, when I built this deck with Birds of Paradise in it, I knew that it was soft to Bowmasters. I was just hoping that we wouldn't play against Sultai Beans every single round. I am Brainstorm locked and getting buried here. We don't need to keep playing this game. I'm not kill conceding or anything. We've lost. I can't come up. I cannot catch up with what they're doing. Let's try to play against a different deck next round.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop.
On the draw for round 4 with no lands, gonna mulligan. Okay, keep. And I'm gonna bottom. I think it's actually one of the Brainstorms. I would normally bottom the basic island and let my lands show up, like let 2 Brainstorms find my land drops. That's probably still correct. Maybe I'm a little gun shy from how rough this league has been on my mana so far. Okay, opponent's got, appears to be, Reanimator. I'm going to force the Entomb. Opposition Agent's really good if I can get to a spot where it's castable. Land Uro Leovold. And I do like all these cards. Or I guess I didn't like the land. I was supposed to put Uro in my hand there, but okay. Let's hope they don't have a second wave right away. Lotus Petal. Faithless Looting from 1 card in hand. If they miss on a monster here, I'll feel pretty good for a while. Discarded a Looting and a Reanimate. That's good news. Tropical Island pass. Entomb. Okay, so they're just committing to being in top deck mode for the rest of the game. Which, I mean, they have a lot of powerful top decks in their deck. That's not an outrageous thing to do. They're tapping mana. Great. Well, I mean, it's Shallow Grave, but I guess I'm dead. Oh my goodness. Magic is a game full of inherent variance. So I'm not gonna like freak out here, but also my opponents have run extremely well in this league so far. And like next turn this line doesn't even work because I have Leovold in play and they can't draw extra cards. Like Shallow Grave would have just hit me for 7 and they pass the turn. I'm going to concede to their next reanimation effect or their first discard effect. I don't want them to know that I'm this opposition agent deck. That is the specific type of card that you would like to know to play around. They're going to 5, drawing a million. They've used 2 Lotus Petals already, and they've made their land drop. Grief. I am conceding to Grief. Woof. What a beating. Surgical Extraction comes in, Flusterstorm, Veil of Summer. Hydroblast counters Faithless Looting, but I don't think that's enough to be worth bringing in. I like Shadow of Doubt. I don't like Fatal Push. I don't really like Uro, actually. Witherbloom Command does very little. This looks like the plan. Let's go. I will keep this hand. Pass the turn. Maybe I was supposed to lead on Basic Island so I can fetch Bayou and have all my colors. Well, I'm getting griefed, pitching Shallow Grave. Alright, yep, go ahead. Have a look. I do have multiple pieces of interaction in this hand. Force of Will's gone. To the surprise of nobody. Reanimating Grief, okay. Just playing some small ball over there. I hope they take Wishclaw Talisman. That's the best use of that card we've found yet, distracting a Grief. Yeah! Okay. I'm holding up Daze and Shadow. If I find a land, I can play Leovold. And I didn't have to Daze last turn, which unlocks Bayou as something I can fetch for. Thoughtseize, huh? Well, resolves. Annoying. If they take Leovold and reanimate it, and I lose to my own one of, I'm prepared for anything at this point. What's the most humiliating way I could lose a game of Magic? And what's the most perfect sequence of random cards my opponent could have to do it? That's what's going on this league. There goes Leovold. And Grief pitching Shallow Grave again. Okay. I would not be surprised if this one takes days and then they reanimate again and just beat me in chunks of 6 for the game. Oppo Agent. Okay. Okay, well, I have to Shadow of Doubt here just to cantrip. Bayou, Shadow, Surgical Extraction. Right on time. Okay, actually right on time. Good job, deck. Thanks for the layup. We're back to stability. Flusterstorm. This is where I wish my deck had a card like Orcish Bowmaster in it. Entomb. Entomb's fine because I have the Surgical. I'm okay letting them think they're playing around Daze here. Drax in the bin. Lotus Petal. I hope they animate dead around Daze here. Sick. Surgical Extraction, target Atraxa, paying the black because they're empty. We've got one other Atraxa in the deck, 2 Archons, 3 Grizzlebrands, all 4 Griefs, 3 more Animates, 3 Reanimates, 2 Shallow Graves. Yeah, pretty stock stuff here. Thoughtseize, yeah, love it. Okay, I've unlocked the magic 3 mana. Now Opposition Agent works. Faithless Looting. I think that's fine. Dark Ritual Marshflats in the graveyard. Underground Sea, Thoughtseize you. What's that good card in your hand? Polluted Delta, perfect. And obviously that's not what you want to see with a Thoughtseize, but also their hand is not a useful card. Wishclaw Talisman actually plays now, because I can cast it for a turn, wish for Oppo, and pass. Though I would, of course, rather just draw Oppo. Hardcast Force available. Opponents up to 3 cards in their hand. Shadow of Doubt counters the next Entomb. Just land go for me as well. Another Daze. And in this game, I wish I had just held on to that Thoughtseize. They're just back up to 5 cards in hand. Thoughtseizing me. I think I want to just force this hardcast. And they're making a move here. Perfectly played around my Shadow of Doubt. Like every good Legacy player should. Oh, they were just fetching out Oppos. Sure. Brainstorm, my goodness. Set me free. Not really. Okay, I don't need a Birds of Paradise anymore. This is too many Dazes. Fetch. Underground Sea, Brainstorm. Again. Maralen of the Morns. Oh no. Well, actually, this does win the game. Hold on. I put back Daze and Bird. And then Fetch. Yeah, I play Maralen. And then I Shadow of Doubt on their turn. And then I Tutor Oppo on my turn. Shadow of Doubt. Players can't draw cards, so I don't cantrip off this. But they lose 3 life and don't get a card. And then they pass to me, and I Tutor in my draw step for Opposition Agent. Then I cast Opposition Agent with Flusterstorm Protection. Do we win now? All right, we did the thing. Oi, oi, oi. Magic is crazy sometimes. The deck I have submitted is still the best deck I can submit, but we did the thing. Count it. No interaction for a turn 1 play. I have Veil of Summer up after that. The opponent kept 7. Geez. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, I'll keep this and bottom one of the Dazes. Okay, how nuts is your nuts? Scrubland. Lotus Petal. Entomb. Okay. If they're just trying to send it, the Surgical does do the damn thing. Surgical, baby. Their hand is 3 lands. Love that for me. Okay. You're saying there's a chance. Shadow of Doubt, what's up? I'm going to get Bayou to cast this Birds of Paradise off of. I can't Daze with that, but I shouldn't need Daze this turn. They need 2 cards to combo, and they have 0 in their hand. It's fetching right now, because they know I'm an Oppo deck. Force of Will. All right. I thought about playing Ignoble Hierarch, so you have some power in your mana dorks, but that card just doesn't tap for blue, which is important to the deck. Basic Swamp. Another Daze. Okay. The shields are up. We're chilling. There's that Badlands. Thoughtseizing me. I think this is fine. Like, I don't want to spend a force on it. Flusterstorm doesn't counter it. My hand is just mostly the same stuff here. I don't want them to take my Shadow of Doubt, but I think they have to take force. They did take Shadow of Doubt. That's awesome. The respect I deserve around here, finally. My next land, Hardcast Force. I no longer know any of the cards in their hand. They're still aggressively fetching every time they know the coast is clear, which I believe is correct to do. Bonus Bird. This Hardcast Force next turn. The number of the land drops they've hit here is actually kind of distressing, given how much soft permission's in my hand. Thoughtseizing me again. Okay, well, you got me again. Wow, went after Daze instead of Force. Interesting. I wonder if they're holding Grief. That's a good draw. Like, why does taking Daze instead of Force make sense? Unless they're trying to walk me into a 2-for-1 where I have to pitch Force on a Grief. Yeah. Except that I don't because I have 5 mana now. And then I can Daze a Reanimate if they follow up with that. Daze of Faithless Looting. Yeah, I think that's worth stopping if I can stop it. I don't have high hopes for Daze after this point, as I draw another one. Okay, I'm hoping they find an Entomb, like, pretty quickly. Or that I find a Wishclaw. Or Maralen. Reanimating Grief. Okay, if I Oppo, that's 2. 1, 2, 3. I could counter this. Okay. I'm going to cast Oppo and then Daze this, and then also Fluster it. Because I lose the spells in my hand anyway here. And this way, at least they don't have a 3-2. And the Oppo's in. I'm not worried about getting Entombed here. I am worried about winning the game. Faithless Looting is still available for them to set up. Uh-oh, they hit an Atraxa. This is how it ends. Come on, Graveyard Hate. Ponder, let's go. Save me. Ponder. Brainstorm, Veil of Summer, interesting. Well, I'll take this Brainstorm and cast it. Put back Island, and I think Veil of Summer's got to go. Fetch. And Ponder again here. Ponder. 3 land, shuffle those. Come on, deck. And ended up back with the basic island again. Okay. Well, if my opponent has been sitting on a Reanimate this long, they found their spot. Shallow Grave, even better. Entomb, Dark Ritual, Grief, Animate Dead. Okay. There's not really any creatures I care about here, and the Atraxa does die at the end of the turn. Okay, they just fetched into my Oppo agent. Appreciate you. I get a look at their hand. Or Barugosman Rage is in their deck now. Children of Corliss, so they are back onto this. Entomb, Animate Dead, Grief, Faithless Looting. Okay. That's their hand. Maybe they'll cast Entomb too. And they can Lotus Petal, play Grief, and be on a stable board at 17 life at the end of this turn. They can Animate Dead their Grief. Shallow Grave exile or die? Exile, okay. Yeah, they should probably Faithless Looting and try to get something going here. That seems like the most powerful thing they can do. And they have literally every fetchable land in their deck in play already. Oh wow, look at this. This is just an unrelated warning. We have temporarily banned Shark Typhoon in competitive formats and Commander in order to address a game-breaking issue with the card. Players who entered leagues with the card at this time will have their entry refunded. This has to be just like a BoshNRoll meme forever. I'm saving this. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now, but also, that was great. Okay, they discarded the Entomb and the Fetch land. They didn't find a monster. They're just bringing Grief back. Now I have to decide if blocking with Birds of Paradise matters. I don't think it does. Like, I'd rather have my mana. Atraxa gets exiled. Thoughtseize. Suddenly wish I had 7 more life. Well, I'm going to Thoughtseize them. Take the Grief. They have Unmask and Lotus Petal over there. Lotus Petal is in. And they can cast Atraxa at this point if they have another one. Oh, stop. No, you didn't. Oh my god. Whee! Outrageous. This league is cursed. And I know my deck isn't exactly tier 1, but this league is cursed as shit. And you can't convince me otherwise. Lotus Petal. And I'm going to take 2 from Grief. If I draw a Wishclaw Talisman, we might still be able to do this. Wishclaw? The Thoughtseize, great. Holy smokes, everybody. When you're out there in the world feeling like the magic gods are against you, let me tell you, sometimes they are. And that's just okay. That is reality. Gotta block Atraxa now, because it's lethal. And now, because I had to block this turn, Wishclaw Talisman's not good enough anymore. Sheoldred's Edict. And I don't have enough life for that either. I could double block Grief, trade with it, but I'm already dead to Atraxa. There's no spot here where I can interact meaningfully. I guess I could runner, like Sheoldred's Edict into Brazen Borrower or something. Can't concede yet. They're unmasking me. Sacrifice a non-token creature. They can just cast another Grief, though. Shallow Grave, okay. That works too. Okay, sometimes your opponent draws Atraxa off the top with mana to cast it in the Reanimator matchup after sending it on turn 1 into a Surgical. What a cursed league this is. We've got a reverse trophy to fend off next round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
So I'm on like turn 4 here against lands and losing miserably. My computer straight up died, which is super annoying. But I'm getting buried by this Life from the Loam, but I do have this opportunity to snipe a Verdant Catacombs, which is nothing more than a moral victory, because they have Wasteland going, Loam going. I can never do anything. I guess my plan at this point is to just turn Opposition Agent sideways a bunch of times before they find a way to stop me from doing that. Okay, I'm going to Shadow of Doubt here just to cantrip, because they already can't search their deck. Who cares? Tropical Island. I'm going to hold on to that. I have to protect this Underground Sea, because that's my out to a Merit Lage. Got a bunch of lands in play. Some more lands in their hand. I guess I could have played the Savannah, but that doesn't even help. That just puts it in their graveyard. Porting my island, you got me. Brainstorm versus Wishclaw. I think it's Brainstorm. Maybe I'll find some fetch lands and can actually develop something here. Nope, no chance in hell. Okay. Put back. How many times can I Force of Will a Life from the Loam reasonably? I mean, not enough because they have double Wasteland. Okay, I'll put back Wishclaw and Trop and just attack for 3 here. If they didn't also have Port, I could add another Oppo and at least speed the clock up. But unfortunately, they do also have Port. Sure, I'll play this frickin' Savannah. Whatever. It's yours, but there it is. Yeah, they're just snapping off Wasteland in the end step. There's an Urza Saga. That's probably going to end the game. But if I force Loam, it buys me a turn. Sure. All I can do here is buy myself a turn. Long enough to make them dead. They did not forget to Rashad and Port me. Twice. Yep, just going to attack with Oppo and then die next turn. Alright, they did it. They got over the hump. Oh, what a nightmare this league has been. Get me out of here. Pernicious Deed, Surgical Extraction. I don't think these other cards are super useful. They might have some artifacts that Collector Roof can go after. Fatal Push comes out. Daze comes out. Flusterstorm could slow down a Loam or stop a crop rotation, I guess. I don't think those are real plans, though. This is what I'm doing. Hoping for the best. Fingers crossed. I will keep this hand. Just gonna land go. Oh good, they have the Ancient Tomb start. And the Mox Diamond start. Sphere of Resistance, cool. Okay. Slow and Steady is the name of the game then. Force of Will. Nice of you to show up. Now let's see if they have Wasteland plus Loam for me. They have Loam, but not Wasteland. Okay. Picking up Caracas, I don't care that much about, except that I literally have Uro in my hand as my only game piece. I am not going to Brainstorm because I'm going to need to shuffle. Play Bayou, play Brainstorm here. There's Oppo. That might help someday. Uro's a brick because I know they have Caracas. But Uro also pitches pretty nicely to this Force. And I won't miss it at all. Alright, I'm going to put back Uro and Tropical Island. Because I can tutor off their Urza Saga next turn. They'll have a pair of 4/4s in play by then. But I can do it. I am going to draw the Tropical Island. Then I'll fetch away the Uro. Drop, pass. And it's important to note that I don't get the 1-drop. It doesn't come into play the way it would if it was just my Urza Saga. It goes into exile, then I have to cast it for 2 mana. Okay, fetching in response here. Get another Underground Sea, play the Oppo. And they have the Swords to Plowshares, perfect. Force of Will, JK. You have the protection spell. Alright, that's probably the end of that. I mean, I could Wishclaw for Pernicious Deed. But we know they're holding a Life from the Loam. If I don't find Graveyard Hate real quick, none of that's going to matter. Okay, I'm going to Ponder. Shadow of Doubt, Underground Sea, Verdant Catacombs, not helpful. Shuffle. on the Shadow of Doubt anyway. Oh, maybe this deck is just a delight. I'll pay 1 extra for Wishclaw Talisman. They didn't Dredge Loam, which means that their hand is already better than Urza Saga. Joke, yep. Oh, what a bloodbath. Okay, first 05 in a while on the channel. Let's try to break this down, because looking at it, I would think that the spells in this deck are at least like reasonable enough that you could play normal Magic some amount of the time and just get a win here and there, which we basically didn't do at any point in this league. The issue is, of course, that we're playing silly cards to try to make other silly cards work. The Wishclaw Talisman is the engine in this deck, the slot that would be occupied by like a Planeswalker or Up the Beanstalk or the One Ring if we were not trying to make Wishclaw Talisman work. And part of the issue is that in order for Wishclaw to not immediately turn around and kill you, you need to tutor for Opposition Agent, at which point you basically have just introduced risk in order to get a 4-mana Opposition Agent into your hand, at which point if your Oppo doesn't resolve or is removed ever, the Wishclaw kills you at that point, and Opposition Agent just isn't that good. Here's the problem. Like, we basically have 7 functional copies of Oppo Agent in the deck, and it's a card that's bad. I thought I built out this shell well enough that, you know, maybe we accelerate it out some amount of the time with Birds of Paradise, and then we just get someone on the merits of Opposition Agent. But we did a lot of drawing Wishclaw without Oppo, and did not very much drawing of Oppo without Wishclaw. And then even when we did draw Oppo, the deck just couldn't keep up. There were multiple games where I had Oppo in play, opponent couldn't really do anything, and then they just took 9 from it and then killed me 3 turns later with their new cards that they drew. I think you either need to commit way harder to Opposition Agent and Maralen of the Mornsong, like, I'm talking like Dark Ritual level commitment, or just don't do this. You could also lean harder. There was like a Sultai 3-drops theme deck a year or 2 ago in the format that used like Noble Hierarch and Birds of Paradise to play Leovold, Opposition Agent, Hull Breacher. You just had a lot more of the 3s going on. But at that point, what am I cutting? Witherbloom Command, Brazen Borrower for like Hull Breacher, which is another situational thing that doesn't draw cards most of the time. Yeah, I think this was just a fundamental miss on what Legacy's actually about, which I think is a really fun learning opportunity, because this deck is full of Legacy cards. The only card in this deck that, well, so there's 2 Shadow of Doubts and a Maralen of the Mornsong. Otherwise, none of these cards are embarrassing in Legacy, but they don't make sense in terms of a plan. This is a failure of deck building based on the fact that you can't just put 60 mostly playable cards together. That a deck that does not make. You need a plan, and then you select cards to execute that plan. And this one just didn't do it this time. Also, opponents ran hotter than the sun at all times. Every time they could draw a good card to punish me, they did. But that doesn't mean that the deck is better, or that it deserves to exist. 93, sorry, buddy. This was a swing and a miss. Thank you for the brew challenge, though. Lessons learned. As long as we're learning, it's fine. Some lessons are harder than others. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.